What are days anymore? What are days?
We are off and running.
What is life, you know? Seriously.
Although I feel really cozy right now. I'm in my sweatpants. I got a fun sweater. Sitting on the couch.
We're just gonna start it off.
Let's just do it. Let's get
But
right into
the music is playing out. Y'all know what this is about. If you don't know, you will know soon.
God, this song is so
Wait for this
atrocious.
drop.
Woke up this morning.
Ramel's like waving his arms in the air to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it? I mean, it's not the worst song. I've heard worse.
it. To be honest with you,
His
he's
voice
got
isn't
he's
really
got
that
some
bad.
bop,
It's not that
man.
bad.
He's got
It's
some good stuff.
Yeah.
he's pretty country.
I'm still the verdict's still out if that's actually his actual voice or if he got something
Correct.
recorded for him.
Although I feel like
But
that would have
it's
been.
pretty
I
good.
feel like that would have been in the documentary if like he wasn't using his voice.
I don't know.
I
They
was
were.
waiting for that to actually just to pop up out of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, he don't even sing his own songs.
We need a fact checker because like I actually want to check like did he? I don't think that's his voice. I just don't believe that this is his voice.
What's that one track he's got, like the Kitty Cat song, talking about Carole
Oh, yeah.
Baskin? That was a banger.
Yeah.
I could listen to that. That could go on the stereo.
Oh, we'll get some cuts of that at some point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, 17 Waverly Podcast. This is a very special appreciation episode, where we are focusing today on the hit show Tiger King on Netflix.
Whew. You know, this speaks volumes because usually when we do an appreciation episode, it's for something that we've all watched like 100
Correct.
times.
Correct.
It's nostalgic and stuff. We're jumping right into just a hit right now.
I mean, though, to be fair, I don't know if we can totally define what our trends are with appreciation
no,
episodes,
no, yeah.
considering that we've only done one.
Very
That's
true.
But at least that was the mission. That
Correct.
was the
Right.
theory of how we were going to do it. Yeah.
So we'll continue our technical difficulties.
Never stop me.
happens.
Yeah. Okay. So, Tiger King on Netflix. We are still under quarantine here, but we're not going to talk about that today.
No,
We're gonna have some fun.
The reason why we're bringing this up, why we bring up the quarantine at all, is because everyone's locked at home during this current period of time, and if there's one thing that I've watched in this time that I've been at home, it's and that has completely captivated me and has completely diverted my attention from the this scary epidemic that's going on.
Right.
It's Tiger King. Out of all the things that I've watched, 7 episodes, about an hour each. I can't really even think of the words to describe how I want to introduce this. Because of there's just so much that happens and has come out of this 7-hour documentary
yeah.
that I don't even know where to start. But we could probably just go episode by episode and we'll kind of just go from there.
I think it's going to get completely derailed from that just
I'm
because
sure
there's
it
so
is.
much
Absolutely.
shit.
But at least we have a structured plan in the
Right.
work
Look, the
here. Let's see
description
how it
is it's imagine like it's like a Jerry Springer episode that they decided to turn into a movie and just went completely nuts with it.
right.
plays. Yeah.
Right.
And I was just talking with some friends about it on Zoom, and just one of them hadn't seen it, and each of us keeps bringing up like a different thing, and I'm listening to all the different angles that this shit gets completely derailed, and that poor girl's face is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're struggling to describe what the show is, you could just hit some really key terms like polygamy, tigers, murder, cults,
Betrayal.
betrayal,
Drug abuse.
gay question mark in parentheses.
Yeah,
I think that's
fair.
one of the more questionable things that topics of the show, but I mean, no, but we'll get there when we get there.
Guns, fire, explosions,
More
breeding.
tigers.
Yes.
You have
FBI, investigations,
Yeah, right. Feds.
jail time.
meth,
Yeah.
Missing husbands.
submissive husbands,
Submissive husbands.
Yes.
3
Lots on
husbands,
cucks.
Three husbands, 3 wives.
Right.
Jesus.
All jam packed.
Infidelity.
Yes.
Although
Yes.
that was a weird
That
kind
was
of
a weird
kind of infidelity.
I know. It was
That
very
was
strange.
out of all the things that happened in this show. For some reason, that was one of the most. Also suicide. We forgot that keyword.
Oh, well, was it suicide?
It was technically a suicide.
accidental.
Technically, yes, it was suicide, but was it accidental or not?
That doesn't
That's
matter.
the big question there.
It's still a
yeah.
suicide.
Oh boy, that was a shocker. That was a shocker.
But I guess a lot of times,
And that they got the suicide. They didn't get the suicide on tape, but they got the guy.
reaction,
And
yeah.
you see the flash of the
a
gun.
part of me thinks that there's definitely a camera angle of the suicide,
Probably.
but they're definitely not going to obviously play that.
Right.
Right.
But there's no way that camera was the only camera in that room when this guy was filmed 24/7.
I think. Look, let's just go into it this way. This is a hot mess. This is a hot bucket. There's a lot
Yeah.
of shit in it.
Okay.
I think we should go into this assuming that everyone's watched it because everyone is quarantined. What else y'all doing?
Yeah.
Let's just assume that the majority here has watched Tiger King, and let's get our hands in this Tiger bucket.
Okay.
Do
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic. I kept thinking it was Joe Exotica.
Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic.
I'll do it.
There's only one way to
do it.
describe
Do
this.
it.
He is.
He's a completely insane, gay, gun-toting, drug addict fanatic.
That's
Yes.
exactly
That's-
how you
that's
describe
it.
Joe Exotic.
I wasn't even watching this show. I'm like, I'm not going to give that the time of day. And I'm outpouring a drink in the corner. Ramel's watching it. That quote drops, and I'm like, excuse me? What is this show?
Yeah, that ropes you right in.
I
right away.
I took a seat.
So he's this redneck guy out of Oklahoma that has this passion for tigers. He owns this zoo called the GW Zoo or whatever the hell it is.
I think it's like a wildlife conservation.
Right. And he owns like 180 tigers on this complex, this compound. And he's just this really erratic, narcissistic, just this. He thinks that he's this like this god.
Tiger King.
Yeah,
He really thinks he
he's
was
the
a
Tiger
Tiger
King,
King,
right?
right?
So the guy, the reason why the show came about was because the guy who's filming this documentary was actually doing a documentary on venomous snakes being sold, and he came across Joe Exotic when Joe Exotic was at the same place that the guy that he was trying to film was buying like a bobcat or some shit.
Yeah, like the guy was buying a snake, and he's
no,
like, "You
it-
want to see something I just picked up?"
Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck is there a Bengal tiger in Florida?
Yeah, there was a so he looked in his truck, and in the truck there's a snow leopard.
Snow leopard, right?
Inside the truck in fucking Florida, and a snow leopard is like one of the most rare. It's one of the rarest cats to find.
Oh, really?
Because they're so elusive to just like snowy mountains, basically. So he was like, "Is he good for that cat to be in here?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, they get acclimated. They're fine."
It's like, what the fuck?
And then you're already right there. You're like, okay, this guy obviously has, this is a problem. Like, he shouldn't really be doing this. But then again, the fact that like he's got 180 tigers and he starts breeding these tigers, and you're just like, Jesus, like this shouldn't be happening at all.
Right.
But that's besides the point, because right now there's way more that happens.
He does magic, guys.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, he was a magician.
He was a part-time magician to teach kids about
Yes.
drugs.
because he wasn't really making money, and he started to make money going around to schools, bringing the cats, and letting kids like play with like the little tigers and the doing magic, I guess.
He was just selling.
It was weird to like. I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, oh shit, I don't really have the. I really don't have like the push to like go and like fuck around with cats. But then I'm
Right.
like, well, shit, if you brought me a cat to the school, yeah, I'd probably be pretty psyched about it.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy shows
Fucking
up,
got
and
my
he-
attention.
exactly. If a guy shows up and he's got a baby tiger in his lap, and he's petting it, and he's like hanging out with it,
like,
then
okay.
why wouldn't I go up to him and be like, "Yo, can I pet the goddamn cat?"
Yeah.
True.
You
Or
know what I
take a
mean?
picture with it for the
that.
gram.
Or can I take a picture with it or something? 'Cause that's just
Yeah, because if you don't know the context in as this show presented it, like you'll probably be like, "Oh, whoa, it's a tiger!" Like let's go. Or the guy who put the tiger cubs in a suitcase in Vegas so he can get
Right.
some sacks.
Oh, that guy's such a piece of shit. And we'll get to him. But
right,
he's
right.
just-
So
oh god.
the first episode it introduces him and what he does. It gives you an introduction into I believe his name is Rick Kirkman, who's a guy who used to do like interviews and things. He's a
Was
journalist.
on like 2020 or 60 Minutes, something like that?
Yeah,
He was on
60
one of
Minutes.
those-
He was
The
a
bald
show
old
like that.
guy.
He had a whole huge like long career in journalism and stuff, and he I guess wanted to go here because he's like I can film this guy, and this guy is absolutely nuts. And this is
He
exactly
had the
what I want to
idea
do.
of- He had the idea of like doing a reality show based on him.
Right,
and then
correct. So he's like,
for
if this guy's letting me just film him no matter what, fuck it. This is awesome. This is going to be great TV.
right.
Right.
Another important thing to know here that we learned in the first episode is that all of the people that are on the farm are basically all ex-cons.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
so
wait,
all
wait,
the
what-
people
what
that
is
he
that?
hired at some point are almost all of them are ex-convicts. So it
Like-
makes sense that he surrounds himself with these kind of people that he's giving them a second shot. That way
They're
he
in
can
tough
kind of-
positions.
Yeah, he can kind of do whatever he wants
Yeah.
in terms of being an employer.
That's why he could get away with paying them like it was like something ridiculous, like $125. Like
It was
a
$100
week or something.
It was like $100
$100
a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of.
And the thing is, like, we don't know. I mean,
And their diet was expired like bologna.
That was
Yeah.
that was like the when you realize that they have a deal with Walmart to have all the expired meat and the
I-
meat that they like can't put back
I
on the
honestly
shelves.
don't
It's
even
like,
think-
Oh God.
I honestly don't even think that deal with Walmart is was like a legitimate deal. I think that was
No.
definitely like a behind the scenes, like backdoor
Payoff.
Yeah, because-
payoff
absolutely.
to somebody that works there.
Because most supermarkets, like you can't give food for free like that.
Right.
It has to be thrown out.
Yeah,
maybe
they
they
definitely
went
like, met
dumpster
someone on
diving
a
for it.
loading
Correct.
dock and set something up.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah, even Shaquille O'Neal went.
So the big thing about Joe is that because he's such a narcissist, he wants to be the best. He wants to be the one that's in the spotlight. And we learn in the beginning in this also the first episode is that there is a guy, Doc. I forget his full name.
The polygamist guy.
Yeah,
The Josie and the Pussycats guy.
Yeah, so he's this guy who also owns his own ranch, zoo type of scenario with a bunch of cats and a bunch of animals, but he does it much better than Joe.
Yes. Like Doc's the guy that like movie companies go to and shit to like
Right. He
to
had
get,
deals
like,
with yeah.
like they get deals like movie studios, and there was a picture of I think he was like backstage at like Britney Spears during the VMAs. Like he brought her that snake
Right.
that she used during the VMAs and stuff. It's like he's has a really nice little career
Oh yeah.
with this.
I mean, there's clips all over online of Doc with Britney Spears, with all these celebrities, because he was the one providing the animals for these
Really?
music videos, these award shows, movies.
Yeah, whatever.
So he was
Doc-
the guy. He was the it guy in terms of exotic animals, and Joe wanted to be that or surpass him. He would learn a
Right.
lot. He learned a lot from him.
No, like Doc. So Doc, you got Doc Antle is in like Myrtle Beach. He's in South Carolina.
Right.
Joe's still in Bumblefuck, Oklahoma.
Who's
Right.
in Florida? Carol?
And then you
Carole
get to Florida, and that's where Carole Baskins is.
Carole Baskin.
And like most things go off the rails in Florida. Am I right?
100%, very true.
Very true.
So you've got this woman, Carole Baskins, who is the other character that gets brought into the show, and she is an animal conservation rights activist.
Phony is what she is.
And she owns her own little compound where she has a bunch of tigers as well. But in her her defense for herself and why she has these animals is because what she does is she takes in the animals like the tigers and the big cats that were in captivity and are on their last days, like they're dying because obviously they're older, and she takes them in so that they have their last days there.
And the thing that just I don't understand is like, so in one of the first interviews, she's giving like, oh well, you know, like people like Joe Exotic have these cats in these little cages and stuff like that, and it literally pans to a tiger eating meal in like a little head cage.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck's the
so
difference here?
As a person that's watching, your reaction is this lady's all bullshit because these cats are, yes, they're dying and they're older, but they're still in captivity the way you're saying they shouldn't be, and they're in smaller cages than the ones that are in the other places that she's fighting against.
Right.
So, she's full of shit. She's full of shit. And one of her, like in the beginning of here, you know, one of her biggest fight, like, she had a scenario where a guy that was buying, some random guy was buying fucking tigers. He had bought like 40 tigers and lions from the different places like Joe Exotic and Doc Antle. And he collected these things, and then one night just let them all loose.
That was it on purpose or did he?
I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but they say that they were saying that he was on purpose.
So he would just
I think
like,
they said like he knowingly let these people go,
so
or let these animals go.
What ended up happening is obviously the cops show up and they got to fucking kill all these animals because they don't know what the hell these
there's
tigers and
there's
lions
50
are gonna
there's
do.
there's 50 tigers loose on.
So all of a sudden, boom! Oh, and bears.
Oh, and bears? Oh yeah, there they are.
So that's her green light to go, I have to fight this. I have to fight these guys breeding and selling these animals.
It's so fucked up. This guy, like, I understand he was like the Hollywood producer dude, but like
Doc Antle,
like his, I guess, was the most like legit operation.
Yeah, his was the most legit operation, correct.
But his was more just like human abuses.
Oh yeah.
Once you realize that he's got what it was like at the time it was like 3 wives, but he had 4 at one point. Like he was.
So
he bought them all houses like in
the copy. Yeah,
so proximity. In his compound, in Doc Antle's compound, he has like 4 or 5 houses. Each house has its own wife or girlfriend of his that he can just kind of just bang whenever he wants.
Wait a minute, though. Why would we... Here's a question. Why would we judge that but not judge Hugh Hefner when he had like all the different girlfriends?
I don't judge Hugh Hefner at all. I don't even judge... I don't think I judge Doc Antle.
Oh, that was just me?
Yeah, I'm not... I mean, I'm not saying that
I'm not hating on him.
Doing anything wrong. And these women...
They love him.
There, too. I mean, granted...
They get to play with cats all day.
It's similar kind of to R. Kelly. And that's where we're getting. I mean, obviously, one big difference, and I won't.
It's dancing with it.
I won't go there that far, but I will say that yes, our Kelly situation was. That's where you're getting into children.
Correct.
Whereas these are older women. They're older than 18 by the time he gets with them. I think.
But what did he say that one of them? Did one of them come to him when she was like 17?
I think so. Yeah, but we don't know in the show. At no point did they mention that he was getting with this girl.
No,
before.
But weren't they also like severely overworked and worked like 12-hour something days or 14-hour days? Yeah, they were because the one girl didn't she get breast implants just so she could rest?
Yeah, they were all. Yeah, everybody in the show was working 12 hours,
like insane hours
every day,
at least. Yeah.
For no money.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which compound you're at, which zoo you're at. You were working 12 hours.
I think the one zookeeper that he found, that Joe Exotic found off Craigslist, that like they kept giving like interviews to up the long hair. He was like, "Yeah, man, I works like 16-hour days." He's like, "Whatever." He gave me a trailer out back. It's got air conditioning that works sometimes. It's like,
sometimes, yeah. So obviously, you compare what Doc was doing with obviously his success. And giving, his girlfriends who were the ones that really worked for him, he was giving them mansions. They all had their own mansion.
Yeah, really nice houses.
So regardless, I mean, whatever it is, whatever his cult thing that he had going on there, he was at least treating them and giving them a way better life than fucking Joe was to his workers.
Yeah.
Well, Joe could have. Oh god, the explosions! Joe could have
They found a rat in that one drawer of the guy's underwear drawer. There's just rats living in it.
There's literally rat shit all over the guy's clothes.
Ew! Wait, why don't I remember that? What?
Because you just kept getting up, Gab.
Yeah.
There was. So obviously during this whole period of time, Joe he becomes what he thinks is a like a Batman for.
Nice. Well done.
People owning exotic animals. He thinks that he's a hero. He thinks that he's this like vigilante. He's got to like he thinks that he has to fight the good fight against Carole and PETA and all the activists that are coming at
animal
him.
Activists.
What he didn't know ultimately was that Carole was the spawn of Satan.
Carole, you
100%.
bitch.
It is really surprising. Like when I first started watching this, you kind of I went in with assuming I'm gonna fucking hate this Joe Exotic guy. Like he probably did some fucked up shit.
Right.
He ends up being like the most like humanized person throughout this whole thing. It's like, well, this guy's fucking euthanizing tigers out back. This bitch killed her husband, and it's like the poor Joe's in jail for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he. No, I don't think he was in jail for no reason. I think that.
Okay, justified, definitely justified.
That's a debate because
Is it?
we don't know other than killing
Carole was on the top of his list.
Killing the tigers, euthanizing them really, because if that's what he was doing, you can't. I don't think that he would be in jail, sitting in jail for that.
Wait,
Do
Joe?
you see how much he loved those animals? He wouldn't just have done that for fun.
No, of course. I mean, I'm sure at some point he probably.
But he wasn't the one that was doing that. Wasn't that Doc that once the tigers like surpassed their youth
Right.
that he would kill
No,
them?
that was Joe.
They got
was both
Joe.
of them.
They got Joe on like shooting at like 2 tigers
Yeah,
because
they
like they were
dug
like
up-
sick, and he's like I have 2 choices. I let them die painfully, or I put them out of their misery. And he's
Right.
like, I'm gonna put them out of their misery. Doc Antle, his shit was after like they were like past the cub age, and he
Right.
couldn't like get any more money out of them. Yeah, he just like put them like in like either a gas chamber or he burned them or something.
So like,
there
yeah,
was some
Doc's a
shit
piece of
stories, yeah.
shit.
Yeah, Doc's a piece of
because
shit.
Doc only used them when they were for like a period of like 8 months. He would use every cat.
Yeah.
Because in those 8-month period is when they were able to be touched and pet by kids and people,
Right.
and
And they
not
wouldn't
be too violent.
Maim you.
So that's once they were like old enough, it's like, all right, well, I don't need this cat anymore. So
And then you have fucking Carole.
so you've got Carole.
There's so many pieces to this show. Like,
Yeah.
But the thing about Carole, to be honest with you, because I think the big discussion we could have here is that out of these 3, who is the worst? I'm going to say something that's not popular. I don't necessarily. Oh, no, she killed her husband. Wait, hold on. I keep forgetting about feeding her husband to the cats.
Yeah, but we can't. We have to try to maintain organization while we discuss this.
Right.
Because you
100%.
can't just say, "Well, she killed her husband." Then if there's somebody listening that doesn't know that,
But that's why I
to
said
this
at the
point.
beginning, it's like we should just go in assuming that people have watched it because it'd be very tough to dissect that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So fine. Carole killed her husband. At some point, we learn about this. At some point, we learn about this in the show. They didn't confirm it. She's obviously not in jail for it, so she didn't find her guilty. Nobody has even. I don't even think that she got arrested for it.
She did it. There was not enough probable.
I think they made it seem like she barely even got questioned for it, even though like so many things were pointing to. So all right, so her husband's like this millionaire dude who basically wants to do what like Joe Exotic and Doc Antle are doing. Like he wants to have these big cats and he wants to sell them. He wants to make money off of them. She kind of was realizing like, no, like these tigers don't deserve to be captive, whatever. So
This
they had
is
a
also
little bit of
before-
a disagreement there.
Right.
Then all of a sudden he's supposed to go to Costa Rica and he just disappears. 2 days later his will comes back altered. like with the power attorney comes back altered and says like in case I die or go missing, which even like the attorney the interview was like, yeah, I think that language is very suspect in relation.
Go missing because no one says that.
But to
exactly.
To preface that though, we have to. The reason why we get to that point in the show is because they're explaining the history of Carole and why we get to this point.
Right.
Carole
that's even sketchy too.
Carole was this. This was before Carole was the Carole that we know in the show, like in terms of like fighting with Joe. This was when Carole was broke and had no money. She marries this rich guy. She escapes her first husband because the guy was mistreating her. Fine.
Yeah.
She meets this rich guy.
Walking the side of the road, right? Like
walking on like the side of the road and like picks her up.
Yep.
And then she gets with this guy. Obviously, he's got money. He doesn't really like. He's very like sketchy with his money. He like hides it everywhere. He he even digs up like he puts gold bars in like the dirt and like hides them like basically
And it's good. It's we have to also admit that he also had a family while this was happening.
Correct.
Like
Oh my God, that was the most pissed woman on earth.
Right. He had his own family and that whole thing going on. So Carole, I'm assuming at some point she realizes this guy because what he was doing was he was going back and forth to Costa Rica because he wanted to, I guess, create his own farm there. For these cats. But the problem is that while he was there, he was also cheating on her, which was another reason why he was constantly going back every single month. Yeah. At some point, some kind of switch flipped in her, and she either realized all this or whatever it was, and then she wants the money. She's gonna divorce him. She's gonna take him for everything that he has, which is kind of what she was doing with Joe Exotic.
Right.
She was angry at him. He was coming at me, so now I'm going to take you for everything that you've got.
And that's legitimately like what she did, right?
So something happened. Her husband went to Costa Rica, didn't come back, or whatever the fuck it was, and all of a sudden his will was different. He had not left her, I don't think, anything at all. He had not left her anything.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Like, he said to his attorney or someone, he's like, or to her, he's like, what I did for money, how I got my money is...
You had nothing to do with.
You didn't have anything to do with it. That's my money. So I'll give you what I think you deserve type thing. And
Which wasn't a lot. Yeah. She didn't even get the house. Like she wasn't even going to get the house that they were living in.
I would have assumed that like he was going to give... I think you end up finding out that like his ex-wife and 2 kids get like 10% of whatever
of the estate or something like that.
Yeah, which is like just dog shit apparently.
Right. So,
but I would assume that they would have gotten a better cut.
So we as fans are listening to this and we're watching this and we're thinking, obviously she killed her husband.
She killed her husband.
Like there's no other way to really understand this other than okay, so she killed her husband. She had him killed. She didn't do it. She had him killed. And then they never found a body. They never found anything. He's technically still missing.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't contemplate her killing him until someone was like, they wouldn't check the meat grater that they had on the premises.
Oh,
so
yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Because
exactly how
the natural reaction would be if you didn't do it and someone asked, like, can we check the meat grater for blood or DNA?
Right.
I'd be like, you're so ridiculous. Of course, go ahead.
But then you think about it, and you're like, this woman, what easier way? And no, and then they also say right before that Tiger's they mention that Tiger's acid is so strong that it burns
bone.
That it basically burns down
bones.
bone,
It
breaks down bone.
Here's another thing. I think she kind of almost, I don't want to say outs herself.
I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
The sardine thing?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. She says, like, if you want a tiger to go after you, just got to put sardine oil on their shoe or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, Carole.
Oh, yeah.
I legit didn't even realize that until someone else mentioned it to me. Like, she basically confessed. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then the sardine oil thing, I was like, wait a minute.
Right. And that happens later in the show.
Yeah.
That's why I missed it, because it comes up several episodes after that. Also, the fact that when she's trying, like, here isn't like a huge like universal tell that when someone's lying, they look up.
She kept staring at the
Something
sky.
like that, yeah.
And every single time that she was questioned about it, and then she would serve the lie, she would like her eyes would just go to the ceiling. But like she would act like really, I think she definitely killed him.
Yeah, so there's
100%.
there's simply no way around it. She had to have killed the guy.
She murdered her husband.
And then
She got that
more than likely, fed him to the tigers.
I think that's the.
I
They
think
said
that's the
something
fairest
Yeah.
play here.
They said something about like a septic tank that she could just throw him down there.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I mean
you
that's
know what?
possible.
The
That's
tiger
possible.
thing.
Septic tank is possible, but I think what
The
better
tiger
way to
thing.
get rid of a fucking body than to chop it up and then just toss it to the fucking tigers.
And then towards the end, like the daughters were even saying that he basically was acting really strange towards the end. Like he was going to like the lawyers or something that he never. Because he would say like he never would get anyone involved, like legally, and like all of a sudden towards the end he was doing all this shifty shit,
right,
and trying to like escape, and then she fucking killed him.
She got him.
She killed him. So what? Here's the thing, though. While all that's happening, she's in a battle with Joe Exotic.
She's trying to take,
and she's trying to take everything from him because he from the second that she started going after him, he was on and on and on and on, threatening her life.
that was a bad look on Joe's part.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was a bad look.
Because he's just so angry at her and her trying to ruin his name that he takes it to another level, and it doesn't need to go there ever.
He becomes borderline obsessed with her being like the devil, which
right.
Can't really fault him on that one.
Correct.
I'm like, but the thing is, a lot of the things that she did, aside from killing her husband, I feel are things that people do like all the time.
Yeah.
The tactics that she was using legally, or trying to drown someone out, make them out of business, or just that shit that Americans do all the time.
Right.
It's nothing different. It's just that we just hate her because she's fucking Carole.
Yeah.
To be honest, so what? It sucks because like Joe actually kind of did like a smart thing, but he was stupid about it. Where he wanted to take away ad space from her, basically. So when you would search Google, he basically stole her like company's name.
Yeah.
But just put entertainment under it, so like he would be the top hit.
So instead of Big Cat, I think hers was Big Cat Rescue. And his was Big Cat something entertainment.
Yeah.
And he used the same fucking logo.
Yeah, Joe more than anything was just petty.
I think Joe's biggest crime, other than possibly having a hit put on her, was him just being petty.
And not that it's a crime to be a narcissist, but he was a textbook narcissist.
Yes,
sure, yeah. But I mean, I know a bunch of people that are narcissists, so like, it is what it is.
So like, I basically looked at it. As you're watching, it's like, all right, well, if he didn't do this, she probably wouldn't have gotten that mad. And then it's like, once you started getting to like the level of petty Joe was getting to, that's when her legal tactics took the turn. Like, all right, fuck this guy.
But because he was literally, like you see in the show, it gets to a point where Joe is carrying around a mannequin doll thing, calls it Carole, dresses it up like Carole, and then just starts fucking shooting it with guns in the middle of the woods.
Throwing it in the lion cage.
Like, oh my God, there's Carole in there, that bitch. Like
Carole, you bitch.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just, like, these are things that like, dude, you're being recorded all the time, and everything that you're doing off by your hand, like you asked to be recorded 24/7.
Right. This is literally on you,
and you're sitting here just constantly destroying this woman on air. You're threatening her life, threatening her family. Like, this isn't smart. This isn't a smart play.
Right.
Wait, during the process of him getting sued, is that when his employee loses an arm?
Yes.
Because I was
Oh,
like,
So
Jesus.
we have episode 2 on right now, and they showed that before. So Joe, and to go back to I guess how Joe runs his zoo. He
No
not
experience
only
required.
does he pay them $100 a week and they work in trash conditions, but they're all really loyal to him.
They are very loyal.
And
to him.
so loyal that one of his people got into one of the cages, was cleaning it out or some shit, gets her arm
ripped off.
ripped up to the point where the doctor was like, you have to cut it off.
No. He didn't say you have to cut it off.
No, he said you can.
It'll be a year for reconstruction.
Yeah, correct. It'll take you a year to reconstruct it, or you can just cut it off and then you don't have to worry about it. Boom. She cuts it off. She's back to work 7 days later.
No, I don't think it was 7. I think it was like
5.
It was 5
or
it was
7.
5 days.
It was a week.
Five.
It was a week.
Yeah, it was a week. It was
They said
a little less than a week.
And that was it.
No,
And that was.
But
ahead.
she also said the reason why she decided to amputate and not reconstruct wasn't necessarily because she's like, oh, I don't care. Was because if I don't do that, then the
right.
media is going to chew up Joe.
Right.
And like
loved
as
Joe.
opposed to if I just
She loved Joe.
as opposed to if I just chop it off, then it's done with.
Right.
So she
When he goes-
literally gave an arm.
And what
for
happened?
Joe.
And this is all during this battle,
The
this
lawsuit.
legal battle between Carole and Joe. So what does she do? She comes back to work with no fucking arm, with one arm, and that's that. Like that's you can't really get any more loyal than that as an employee. You know what I mean?
That was, I think, Netflix finding these super loyal employees.
Yeah, I know.
First, you have someone that's willing to suck a dick for some water.
Yeah,
You know what? Yeah, they found some ride or die people.
They found a lot of Netflix has found a lot of ride or dies.
yeah.
So all this is going on. Let's just bring up Joe's personal life with
Right.
his.
Because this is also an aspect of the show that we get
That
thrown
confuse
into.
some
We
people.
get really thrown into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right into the deep end there. Right into the deep end of the pool. If you don't know how to swim, you got to just figure out a way.
It's not even the deal. It's like right into the rapids. It was right into the rapids.
So as we mentioned earlier, Joe is a gay gun-toting redneck.
He has a. He's at the time. He had the one husband, John Finley,
Correct.
who had some of the most god awful tattoos I have ever seen on a man.
100%. He's probably one of the more interesting to look at characters, and there's a lot of characters that are interesting to look at here.
You can say that.
So
can
he
say
marries this guy, John Finley, who also works at the farm.
The crocodile guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the crocodile guy.
He was, I believe, 19 when Joe met him, and then they got
Right.
married.
And then Travis
And right, so then he
Came
but
along.
he had already been with
with John.
John for a while, but I don't
Right.
think that they were married.
I don't know. If
They were just together because they don't get married until he gets married with both of them at the same time.
Yeah, well, he asked John, "Hey, do you want to open up this relationship?" Basically,
Right.
And it's like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. So
Which also is going to make up for if we actually get Halloween this year. That's going to make up like bro costumes across the
oh
board.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Oh, that's a
dudes
question I
in
think we
pink
need to
shirts.
get back to after, to wrap up the podcast. Like, if Halloween is on for 2020, who from Tiger King are you going?
I'm gonna
as?
be Doc Antle.
You gotta be.
God damn it!
That's good.
I want to be either Doc Antle or the Scarface guy from Miami.
All right,
Whoa,
so again,
Scarface
we can-
guy
The
from
guy,
Miami.
the Latino guy from Miami that they
Oh.
that they basically wrote Scarface based off of.
Right. But how do you visually impersonate him?
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Because the thing about Doc, Joe, and Carol is that
They all
three,
have specific looks.
they have a
Right.
they each hired a fucking publicist or something. It's like, tell me, how the
Right.
fuck do I dress? And they're like, we're goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's how you're gonna dress.
that was another like almost like unnecessary part of that documentary. It's like, oh, by the way, we're gonna take you to this like ex-cocaine kingpin's place in Miami that apparently you can't get into his compound, but like some random ass guy is like, I'll make a phone call.
I guess they did that because they did that because they were trying to really give you an understanding of all of these types of people that are in this world.
I think Carole was saying she was going after like that person.
Right.
And he's like, oh, there's no way you'll be able to get onto that property. They lock it.
It's like
random
super
guy.
super secure.
And then it ends up being like the coolest place on earth.
Right. Wait. So back to Joe's personal life. So Joe is dating this guy John Finley. The guy is just he's missing teeth. He looks terrible. He's got awful tattoos everywhere. Very, very fitting for the kind of people that Joe has at the farm.
Yes.
And then he meets this kid, Travis. And at the time, Travis was also 19 when he met him.
Young man. Came from California.
Yeah, skateboarder type kid, tall.
Dude-ish.
Like, bro, not a terrible looking dude, you know what I mean? Like, got all of his teeth, flocks of hair.
That's so sad that that's where the bar is.
Yeah.
Oh, the bar was not set high throughout this whole thing.
He looks like he was in shape. Like he was like
He was a good looking kid.
Good looking dude, right? Turns out, okay, cool. Like they hit it off. John was okay with the throuple relationship.
I don't think he was. I think it was just like, okay.
I mean, yeah, he was just like whatever. As
He was getting a truck out of the deal, so he's like, fuck it.
Yeah. So then they get married, the three of them, in a throuple marriage.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful ceremony.
Yeah, beautiful ceremony. They all they live life together for years.
But actually, keep going. But
it's all fine and dandy until we then later find out that it was heavily drug
induced. Everyone was just smoking meth and doing coke, everything.
But it
made a lot of sense.
Was the tall drink of water husband the one that was doing meth, or was he just doing weed?
No, he was doing meth.
Oh, he was also on meth.
That's how Joe got him in.
Well, that's
He's
also
like, I'll buy you meth.
But that's how you run, like a lot of places in the world. Like that's how you run brothels.
Oh, of course.
You get them hooked on drugs so that if they ever try to leave, then they come back by themselves because they need more drugs, and you have.
Well, that's it. The one guy says that his campaign manager says that's basically making the fact that he has a campaign manager. Yeah, there's just so many levels to this.
You
guy.
saying his campaign manager?
That's the moment.
Adds an entirely different aspect to the show that we haven't even touched on yet.
That's literally, if anyone's listening to this that hasn't seen Tiger King, is when they almost crashed the car going, campaign manager. What campaign? What are you talking about?
So Travis, we find out that Travis and him and John basically were heavy drug addicts.
They
meth
were
heads.
gay for meth.
They're gay for meth. Yeah.
Oh, that's the part that I wasn't connecting. Okay, they were gay. They sucked dick for meth.
Towards the end, you realize and you find out that once the zoo disbands, because eventually it does. John leaves the zoo and marries and has a kid with one of the women that worked at the zoo at the time, that he was basically with Joe.
Right.
So, and then at the end he's claiming, I'm not really gay. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, he was basically like, listen, I was never gay until I came here. Like, I was always hooking up with girls,
but he was hooking up with girls even while he was there.
No. That was Travis.
That was Travis. Yeah.
Okay. And John, you find out that
John was one that liked the one girl, and then eventually they got together
because he knocked her up.
Right, but Travis was one that was literally banging just all the girls in the camp.
Yeah,
that's right.
But then obviously there's a tragedy here in that we get towards the end of the relationship as well with Travis. So obviously John does his thing eventually.
Yeah, John. I think Joe Exotic finds out that John's not gay, and he's like hooking up with the front desk chick,
girl,
and they're running.
So he's like, all right,
running
get
away
the fuck
together.
out of here, right? So he lets him kind of do his thing. He's still with Travis. Travis is becoming more of a head case. He's He's asking for more drugs. He's like just constantly high.
The guy was just like, he complained about Joe not listening to him and just not having enough pot. It's like,
Yeah. Right. Those were like
okay.
his major complaints.
His big gripes aren't
Right.
that bad.
So basically, this kid just did nothing all day except for ride ATVs and shoot guns and do drugs. Eventually, it got to him. His depression over whatever the fuck he was going on got to him.
No, the guy says it like he would go around the farm or the zoo just
With a
pointing
gun.
guns at people.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like he pointed a gun at the guy and he's like, "Yo, you know you're not supposed to do it." He's like, "Oh, it's not even loaded."
No, I know that, but
okay.
before that scene, when Travis is like punching the fucking
The truck
and shit,
Yeah.
is when they're describing how he was just kind of like becoming a
Going
head
off the
case,
rails a little
going
bit,
off
yeah.
the rails, right? Which is
Right.
what led people to think that the suicide, the gun situation was possibly on purpose.
Actually, on purpose.
But
wow.
but that the way that scene plays out is basically just it seems to me like it was an accident.
I think it was an accident.
Yes.
There's really no other way to describe it. The guy who's in the room with him says that he was pointing the gun, like you said, pointing the gun at everybody, all the time. He points the gun at him as a joke. The guy says, "Don't do that." And then Travis is like, "Hey, don't worry. I'm just joking. Plus, this won't shoot off." Points it at himself, goes off.
And you see, like, that's the cool, the eerie thing about like the camera footage
yeah.
is like he's just standing there and then there's like a flash.
The Flash. Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought the first time I watched it that they just like paused
Right.
like that thing, but that dude literally just sat there with like his hands like in his face.
Oh, yeah.
for, like,
He was in shock.
Like 15 seconds, like continuous shot. Yeah.
Right.
But then even he tries talking to him.
Right.
Yeah, you could see him like trying to talk to him. He's like, I knew he was dead, but I thought maybe like there's a slight chance it could have been a joke. That's like,
Right.
Right.
Oh man, that was a turn. And
That
then you
was a
see,
turn,
like, Joe's sobbing outside, like
Right.
just
But at that point,
inconsolable.
you start to realize when you start to see Joe and his actions after that, even though, yeah, he was like, obviously he was crying and he was very sad. But again, you start to really see like Joe didn't really give a shit that much.
No.
He did, but Joe was only ever really cared about himself.
Exactly,
He was
because a
just upset about
narcissist
being
can't
lonely.
actually love other people.
Correct.
So any context of which he had any kind of affection for the two of them or care, it depended completely on what he was getting out of it.
Right.
So that's not.
So I don't know where that is in the timeline because again, the timeline we've kind of gone over everything, but that's just Joe's basically his personal relationship life to a certain extent. If we go back to what is happening, we've got Carole still fighting him constantly.
Right.
This is after Carole possibly killed her husband.
Right.
This is now she's married to this new guy who is a complete cuck.
Absolutely.
This guy takes her last name. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If there's anybody out there that does that's done that.
Howard Baskin.
But yes, so this guy, he is just like does anything and everything for her. It's very obvious that she controls the situation there.
Absolutely controls the narrative, yeah.
And he's helping her fight Joe. And it's just constant back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It gets to the point where even Joe at one point flies over her compound and to get like an idea of where everything is. And then while he's doing this is saying, we should just throw grenades down there. Insane things that you shouldn't be saying.
But that's why I'm saying he definitely put a hit on her. He definitely did.
So
that's all right. So that's like the second half of this whole thing is where
Right.
you introduce like the other three main people, if you will.
Oh, right. Because
so he's getting sued by Carole.
Right.
He's basically knows that he's gonna go belly up, and then that's where that Jeff Lowe guy comes in.
Oh, Jeff
being
Lowe. I
almost
forgot about
being
Jeff
like
Lowe, yeah.
almost like an angel investor type thing.
Right.
Be like, oh, I'm gonna pump money into this thing.
Well, because by
It's gonna
that point, Joe's farm. I mean, Joe's zoo was doing so badly because he just kept putting money from the zoo into this court battle with Carole.
Right.
and he was running out of money.
Couldn't eat and shit. Like,
right,
it was
couldn't.
bad.
He couldn't feed the tigers. He couldn't keep the people that he was working with happy. Like, he wasn't paying them probably enough. Like, everything was going off the rails. Carole was winning.
Yeah.
100%. She was winning. She was taking everything just like she wanted.
That's why, like, and like as like a side thing, when if you get sued and you don't have the money to like defend yourself, the winner is whoever has more money.
More money.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
Because you could keep it dragging it on.
Right.
She had like an endless supply, basically.
And not only that, but she also had the help of the PETAs of the world.
True.
And I think her cuck husband was an attorney also.
Yeah.
Which that
yeah.
definitely
So that's why he wasn't going to let up, because
helped. He was doing it for
he
free.
was
So
like,
that's
yeah.
all pro bono.
Right. Exactly.
God.
So then this guy
amazing.
comes in. Yeah, this guy comes in
Jeff Lowe.
and gives Joe a bunch of money to keep the farm going, the zoo going, all this stuff. His name is what's his name? Jim Rowe.
Jeff Lowe.
Jeff Lowe.
Who I would probably have to dress up like for Halloween because it's just such a douchebag costume.
Yeah.
Wait, which
The
one was Jeff Lowe?
the biker looking guy.
The one
With,
that
like,
put the tigers in the suitcases?
in the suitcases. Yes.
Yeah, that
he would
guy.
go to Vegas
and then
the
to
guy
get
who was-
pussy.
to get pussy,
With
yes.
the pussies.
with
Yes.
the pussies. Yes.
Yeah, pussy for pussy.
Who was
right.
also in like an open relationship with his like.
Yeah, he had a 19-year-old. He had a 19-year-old girlfriend who liked to go to Vegas with him to get other girls to
swing it.
to swing with them.
Here's the thing. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, 19-year-old dating this grandpa. I don't believe that that's what you wanted. Oh God, another song.
So you got him, and then he brings on that other douchebag, James Garretson, who
James
basically
Garretson.
the fat guy on the jet ski.
Oh, right.
And then he basically Jeff Garrison's the whole reason why Joe goes to jail.
Right.
because
Wait,
he's got
hold on.
loose- Go ahead.
We won't go there just yet
Okay.
because
okay.
we did miss one big thing that happens before this.
What happened?
And that's the burning of his office.
Oh, hold on. So that reflects poorly on Rick Kirkman, who basically sinks his life savings into this reality show about Joe.
The guy had his life and his life savings really just fully risked on this show. And
what type of filmmaker doesn't back up the footage?
yeah, that wasn't smart. So Joe,
Oh God.
if we haven't mentioned that Joe has over the years has had this. He has a trailer on his compound that is a studio, and every single day or every week or whatever, he goes on a webcam for years. He's done this, and he just does his like daily, big cat
YouTube show.
fucking show. And in that room is where this guy Rick, who we mentioned earlier, who was the TV producer / journalist, whatever, and he's been recording Joe's every movement for 24/7 for like years. So all the dirt that could possibly be on Joe that somebody who's fighting him legally would need is on those tapes.
Right.
So what happens?
What does happen?
Joe is losing the battle. He's losing the battle with Carole. What are we going to do? He's broke. He has no money. He's like, fuck, we're screwed. Turns out he was funneling a lot of the money that he was getting from Jim Rowe, or whatever the fuck is Jeff Lowe.
Right.
And he was taking that, and Joe decided that he wanted to, at some point, because he was going off the rails, he decided that he wanted to run for office. He
President,
decided
not just office. He shot. He
he
the
wanted to
loon, I guess.
run for president of the United States of America. He was completely delusional at this point in the stage of what was happening.
He lost his fucking.
He had lost. He lost his marbles.
No, okay, the wedding. I think that they. Oh God.
This is 2016. This is 2016, the year that he ran. All of his money that he was getting from the extra money he was getting from Jeff and from the zoo, he was funneling into his campaign, which is very, very stupid when you're trying to run a fucking zoo that's already broke and you're also fighting legal battles.
And then
So he thought, I'm assuming he thought that by becoming president or by becoming governor of whatever the fuck the town that he was trying to be in, would get him notoriety enough to be able to win the battle against Carole.
Or just like pardon himself or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. But
The whole
anyways,
idea is just
he turns out that for the presidential race, he got 930 something votes, and only in the state of Colorado, because I think that's the only state that allowed his name to be on the ballot.
on the ballot.
And
Wow, that's probably right.
Yeah, but I would like to know who those 937 people were.
I mean,
People that did-
people that don't take voting seriously.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like
It was
when
either-
people voted for Harambe,
right.
like a few years ago.
Those were people that didn't want to see either Donald or Hillary in,
Correct.
in the
right.
was
So
like,
they voted for
let's go.
Harambe. I think Harambe got some votes. I think The Rock got some votes.
The Rock got some
Oh
votes,
my
and Joe
God.
Exotic got 930 fucking votes.
Yeah. So
To
anyway,
be honest
so-
with you,
right. So that happens, and Joe's funneling money. Jeff finds out, gets pissed off. Joe starts getting paranoid because then he starts to realize that he feels like his office is being tapped, which it actually
It
is.
was, yeah.
By the FBI. The FBI was listening in and trying to wire in, was trying to keep tabs on him. So one day, randomly, there's a big fire, an explosion on the fucking compound, and all of the tapes, everything that was in that studio is just destroyed.
yes,
And
along
destroyed
with-
so badly that the cops that were on the case were like, this was so clearly arson.
yeah.
Like, it's so obvious that they poured whatever the fuck gasoline or whatever on so many things here.
Oh, my God.
And the thing is, like they clearly try to pin it. They clearly try to pin it on Carole, and like he's putting up like $10,000 rewards and shit like that. And then like later on, when he gets kicked out of the farm and he just starts burning shit, it's like, oh, Joe,
Yeah, yeah.
that you really didn't go to a funeral in Chicago, did you?
Correct.
Because
It's
that
just-
was his alibi. He's like, Joe was at a funeral in Chicago.
It just so happens that the guy who lives and breathes this zoo is gone the weekend that
Yeah.
his trailer magically fucking explodes. It's just the whole thing was just so fucking hilarious.
Oh, also the fact that he had like a video recording on him when he went to go see his lawyer.
Yeah.
Because the guy told him, like, I own all the footage. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then he went to his lawyer. He's like, yeah, but like, does he have backups? And he's like, or like, no, it's just that.
Right.
And he's like, well.
He's
And
like,
the
you
the
understand what
lawyer
I'm trying to
tells him without telling him, like,
Right.
set it on fire.
And the worst part is that Rick, right before the fire, also told him that he wanted to renegotiate his contract for the reality TV show, and Rick told him in the negotiation, because Joe didn't want to give him extra money. Obviously, he was broke,
Right.
and Rick was basically saying like, I own you.
Yeah.
Like I own all of this information. All of these tapes are
Is
mine.
mine. Right.
honestly just
So-
two stupid people.
It's just so dumb on so many levels from everybody here.
It's it's just that everything about Joe is so reactionary and
Yeah.
nothing is thought through.
Right.
That it's like, of course your life's a mess. Like there was no reason that you couldn't have been like what Doc was. But
Right.
why did you keep breeding the goddamn tigers?
Right. Right.
And oh my god, there's just so there's so much to unpack about this show. Like
He
it's-
was just so stubborn and just so obsessed with like being the guy. And I mean, obviously that probably goes back to when we find out his parents, when his dad, when he found out he was gay, was very upset with him. Didn't want to didn't want to have anything to do with him.
but then you find out like he basically bankrupted his parents.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, so maybe
granted,
Joe
he got
wasn't such
back
a
at
good
them,
guy.
But again, it's just no move that he made throughout his entire life worked.
No.
It just
So
anyway,
sad.
he runs for president, doesn't win obviously. He runs for governor of the town that they're in, doesn't win. And then that's where Jeff brings in the fat guy.
Yeah, the fat guy's like another basically con man, if you will. That's what I would
Another
call him, but
ex-convict guy
Well, this guy's like a businessman, right?
Right,
But
right. But he was shady. He was shady.
He's
Yeah.
shady dude. So you got these two guys working together, and then I can't remember how the fuck the fat guy gets caught exactly. Like some FBI agent wanders into his store and was like, "Huh, you don't have a permit for that lemur." Or some shit, and it's like, well, we got you on, and then he's like, he just starts giving everybody up.
Well, because he had, again, these are guys that they don't give a shit about anybody else, so they're obviously only looking out for themselves, and they're only going to do this because to save their own asses. So what happens? This guy gets caught with this fucking lemur or whatever. The cops are like, we'll help. You won't go to jail if you rat out the people that you're working with to do all this. And at this point, the FBI was already wiretapping Joe.
Right. Joe. Because of the other idiot.
Because of Jeff.
But so then you find out that Joe was like taking money from the zoo to fuel his campaign, and Jeff's like, you can't do that. That's illegal.
It's illegal. It's literally illegal.
Oh, I remember that. He's like, you literally can't do that.
and then
Wait,
Jeff basically Jeff gives him the ultimatum. He's like, right. Listen, he's like, I fucking got you with everything, Joe. He's like, there's cameras recording all the time. I got you.
Right.
So he's like, what do you want me to do? I'll pack my shit. I'm gone.
Yeah.
And then he steals like 10 tires.
Didn't Joe also drain his parents dry?
Yeah. He did that during the battle with Carole.
Yeah, he sucked them dry.
He sucked everybody dry. That's what he did. So
and then Carole sues his parents.
Yeah,
because I think he put something in their name, and she went after it.
So he thought, Joe, again, a very dumb decision. He thought that by moving all of his assets that he had left to his mother's name, that Carole wouldn't sue because it wasn't under Joe's name. But obviously, they're going to do that. They know that that's your mom, so they're going to sue her.
They're cold-blooded. Absolutely cold-blooded people.
So Joe eventually up and leaves the zoo.
It tries to make it look like he's in Belize.
He tries to make it. Wait, he went to what?
He tries to pose that he's in like Belize with his new husband that he met two months later.
Yeah. So Joe one night randomly decides. I don't know if it's randomly, but he decides to leave the zoo. He steals, I think, like what did you say? What was it, like 5 or 6 cats of the tigers?
He puts like the big money tigers in cages, and he's at least $4,000 for this.
Drives to, I believe, Tampa. No, not Tampa. Somewhere in Florida.
Somewhere near the Gulf. They said he's like that's Gulf water or something.
Right. Yeah. Somewhere near the Gulf. Maybe it was. Yeah, I don't know where. But anyway, so he drives somewhere near the Gulf, and he starts his another farm, but very separate, completely different, just a tiny little thing. And then that's when the fat guy was ratting everybody out to the FBI.
And we missed one character who I guess you could say is kind of pivotal in this whole thing. And
Stark?
That's Jeff's right-hand man?
Yes.
That's
the guy with the monkey.
No, Alan Glover. The farmhand that Jeff
the farm
hires.
Hand. Yes.
Who ends up like
Yes.
So you got this farmhand that Joe just does not see eye to eye with, because whenever Joe tells him to do something, he's like, "Nah, I don't work for you. I work for Jeff." And they
When Jeff came in to help Joe run the farm, he brought his own people to help because Joe's people were incompetent. Obviously, they're just like a bunch of trash people that whatever. So he brought his own guy, this Alan Glover guy, who's this like. Another ex-con, but he just was he loyal to Jeff. Fine,
right?
But he and Joe did not see eye to eye. Joe hated the guy. Glover hated him back. So when Joe left, Glover was left with Jeff, and it was great. He got with another guy that ran another farm somewhere, and they were like, we're gonna rebuild GW into this whole new big huge zoo, done right. Done well, all this shit. Well, then it turns out that Jeff was trying to, cut Willie out of the deal or some shit. Like he was trying to cut the guy Stark out of the deal or something.
This is what Joe said was going to happen is because Jeff apparently didn't actually have money. He posed that he had money, but he was behind on payments. He had nothing.
Yeah, the Ferrari, the Ferrari wasn't his.
Yeah,
he was
sold
rented.
Some guy's stolen Hummer.
Oh, he wasn't rich at all. Yeah.
So he's making this other guy pay for like everything. He's making the guy do all the digging and all this shit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get you." And the guy finally was like, "No, like this is bullshit."
Right.
So you start seeing that this Jeff guy, he is a seedy character,
right?
You know.
So then the fat guy, he starts to snitch.
Yeah, and he basically tells him
he's working as an informant for the FBI because they caught him. Right. So he wears a wire, or starts wearing a wire, or he starts recording his calls with Jeff.
Yeah, and then that's when they find out about the whole murder for hire thing.
Yes.
And that's where this whole thing just kind of just takes off. That allegedly Joe wanted to kill Carole Baskin, so he set like a hit up on her. But he doesn't go to a hitman. He goes to the guy who hates him. And that's like the one thing in the defense. I was like, Joe has a point here. Where this guy fucking would not listen to a word he said. Like he's gonna go and kill someone. He's gonna drive to Florida and kill somebody for me. I don't think so. And then you get the phone calls with Jeff basically telling this guy, listen, just tell them what we talked about and it's all good. And it's basically like he set the framework to sandbag Joe.
To sandbag Joe, right. And all it took was the FBI couldn't arrest Joe for obviously the plan to manslaughter or whatever the hell the term of it is. Right. Because there was never a transaction made until they had proof of it.
Right, and then so they have proof that Joe was allegedly supposed to give this guy $5,000, but he gives him $3,000.
Right,
and the guy heads off to Florida.
Right.
Then the
that
guy
sounds
even
like a
says,
shitty amount of money for a murder.
Well,
the guy even said he's like I didn't even make it to Florida. Like I guess I chickened out.
Yeah. So the guy took the $3,000 and then didn't. Obviously, he never killed Carole. So he mentions in the thing that he took the $3,000 to. And then, like, to steal it from Joe, basically.
Right.
Like, he was saying, yeah, I'll kill her. Give me the $3,000, and I'll go and kill her.
Right.
But obviously, he took the $3,000, and then was just going to leave with it.
Yeah.
And not kill her.
But then you find out later on that Joe never gave the guy the money. Like, Jeff gave the guy the money. So it's like, how the hell did... in this whole thing, like, Joe's, like, in court trying to, like, plead his case... He's his own attorney, which again, just this guy's a man of many hats.
Fucking, what are you thinking, my guy? But yeah, man. So turns out Joe gets 22 years in jail, and that's where he's currently at right now.
Yeah. But now he's working with PETA.
Right.
To sandbag everybody else.
Yeah. He doesn't give a shit about cash. It's because he lost the fucking battle. So now he wants to fucking drown everyone else for it.
And he realizes that he's no longer be in the animal business. So he's like, well, fuck everyone else that's going to be happy in the animal business.
Exactly.
So this is basically now like a Tekashi 6ix9ine situation. Yes. Where he's already in jail. He's just going to snitch everybody out. He doesn't give a fuck. And he's going to try to get out early, I guess, and see. I don't fucking know, like... where he would even do.
I don't know if it's 20. I don't know if he should be in prison for 22 years. That's a lot.
He
they hit him with like
killing someone.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think the killing the person thing isn't even like the biggest thing on. Like, he got hit with like 19 charges and he got
he had like 19 charges that were. I think he was.
A lot of them had to do with like animal cruelty and endangerment.
Animal
stuff
cruelty.
Like that,
they took that murder one and then just.
Everything
onto
there you
it.
go. Ew, the fucking garbage, the fucking dumpster truck full of spoiled meat.
Yeah.
But the good thing, I guess, that's coming out. I don't know if there's anything good coming out of this fucking show. But they've reopened the case on Carole Baskin's husband.
Correct. Yep.
There's just so much shady shit going on at this point.
Even the police, the Tampa police, look terrible throughout this whole thing. Like they botched that entire investigation.
They botched everything. Every single time the police would come on screen, they'd be like, "Yeah, so
we
we didn't do
couldn't
the
do
best
anything."
job with that," or no, like, "Oh, yeah, we couldn't really do anything with that."
Yep. So
I gotta ask you guys something.
Yeah.
This is undoubtedly one of the greatest pieces of entertainment that the world's ever been blessed with. Whenever movie studios are going to come back alive and we could have the dream of seeing films in theaters again,
right.
who's going to get cast in the Tiger King movie? Because there's going to be a movie made.
Do you think there's going to be a movie about this?
Danny McBride.
Yo, you just made a fact.
If Doc Antle is not Will Ferrell, I will fight
It
somebody.
literally had that entire
fight
group of
somebody.
guys.
Holy, wait, who is Danny McBride though? Joe?
Yeah.
Joe Exotic.
Holy
Joe
shit.
He's Joe Exotic. Will Ferrell is Doc Antle.
Okay, who's Carol?
Carol is
Melissa McCarthy.
yeah,
That'd be great.
Sure,
That'd be great.
Absolutely. I mean, like that group of comedians that does like the Danny McBride shit. That group of comedians has to be the ones that like take this story and
Guys,
run with it.
I can already feel my soul
James
like cry
Franco
laughing.
needs to be Travis.
Oh, James
There's
Franco obviously is going to be like either Travis
It has
or
to be Travis.
yeah, James Franco as Travis or John, whoever. It doesn't matter who he wants to be. You don't think that James Franco would want to be actually Travis instead?
No, because if you're gonna, you have to think about like role accurate. Like he was like a 19, 20-year-old dude.
James Franco isn't young.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's old. Wait,
Yeah,
which
so I'm
movie?
saying he could be John.
Oh,
James
John.
Franco could play
Yeah,
John.
he could be John. He could be Toothless John.
Seth Rogen will be in there somewhere.
Actually, no. Seth Rogen should be John.
Yeah, Seth Rogen is John.
I mean, it's really like
Will Ferrell as Doc Antle, and all the wives. You could get Maya Rudolph, Kristen Wiig.
Oh,
you could get like
absolutely.
all of those like mega comedian women to be like the
We're
fucking
doing
Tiger
the
ladies.
job for you, Hollywood. We're
Bro,
doing
if
the job
I-
for you.
if I'm one of those comedian guys that has basically like their own unlimited access to like these studios, I'm watching and I'm going, this is perfect comedy. Right?
It is. This is so good.
This is so real.
what?
Like it's a breeding ground for jokes. This is a like comedy gold.
Please,
really is amazing.
wait, guys. This is actually really legit idea.
I'm gonna actually just tweet at them and like with the characters that we all think that they should be.
Exactly. Get
Like
Willem
at Danny
Dafoe
McBride, please do this.
Who would be the submissive husband of Carol?
Oh, what the fuck? The guy from Superbad. Why can't I think of his name?
Michael
from
Cera?
Juno. Yeah,
Michael Cera?
Michael Cera.
He hasn't been in a movie in so long too.
It needs to be.
This movie, this has so many characters that you
Jonah
can,
Hill. Jonah Hill could be James Garrison.
you can take all those guys like basically like after what's the movie where they're all this is the end
This is the end.
and just make a
plug them
movie
in.
like that but with this.
Please. Oh, I'm begging them to do it. That would be the funniest shit ever.
I want. So I saw the Stallone family.
Yeah.
They're in their quarantine, dressed up like characters from this show,
Yeah.
and like put it on Twitter.
Oh, that's so smart.
Fucking Sylvester Stallone looks just like Jeff Lowe.
Does
And
he
for that
really?
reason-
Oh, yeah.
And for that reason, he has to be cast. Has to be cast.
Holy shit, dude.
Could you imagine like all these people? It would be. I bet it would have like so many cameos too. Just
That's
random.
what I'm saying. Like a movie like this, you can just throw in a bunch of. Think about all the people that work at that farm.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Like all the characters, the guy with the no legs, the guy with the long hair, the girl with the no arm.
But no, like,
Like-
there's so many characters.
It's just so many good comedy.
And the thing is, like, Joe Exotic is like just full of one-liners himself. Like
Yes.
after the chick gets her arm ripped off, he's like, "I am never going to financially recover from this."
I'm not what. What is
When
it?
he's like, I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
Yeah, that's his immediate reaction. A woman just got her arm mauled off by
Yeah.
a tiger, and you're still thinking about yourself.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
This was the best show I think I've ever watched. The best series. I've
It's
ever
just
watched.
like every minute I was watching it, I was just like, this can't get worse than what's happening right now.
And sure as
And
hell
then 7 episodes later, I was thinking, holy shit, it got worse every time. Like, Like when he blew up his fucking trailer, I was like, I mean, this is the dumbest guy on planet Earth. Like it's obvious. Holy shit, dude!
Amazing. I give Tiger King 5 couch potatoes if we're still doing that.
Yeah, this is getting a 5 out of 5 from me.
Absolutely.
5 out of 5 couch potatoes. Captivating TV.
You know what? Fine. Let's. I was trying to be edgy, but I'm just gonna jump on board with both of you. It's a 5.
It's like the thing is, if you're basing this off of what? Are you entertained? Yes. Did you watch?
Are you shocked?
Are you shocked?
Yes.
Every
Did you
episode's
have?
shocked.
Were you in disbelief at any point?
Yes.
Did it have a little bit of drama? Yes. It had
Was
comedy.
it?
Yes.
Was it unpredictable? Fuck yes.
I think
It
that's the best
had
thing it had
all
going
of the
for it.
elements that you need to just have captivating television, and that's why it deserves a 5 out of 5.
And you know what? And it was there for us when we really needed it the most during these trying
Correct.
times. And
Correct.
that I will always respect this series for
Yeah,
that.
and we're gonna get a lot of memes out of it.
Oh, the memes are
I
fantastic.
mean, we're gonna get a lot of this.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carole.
Oh fucking.
Hey, all you cool
I
cats
might
and
make that
kittens.
my new
Hey,
answering
all you-
machine. To
hey,
be
all
honest
you-
with you, on my phone.
hey,
That
all
might be
you
my new
cool cats and
voicemail.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Hey, all you cool cats and
I mean, I wouldn't mind it on a mug.
Oh, absolutely.
But I saw
T-shirts.
this T-shirt that it was like it's a black T-shirt, yellow lettering. It's just this ferocious tiger and it says "Carole, you bitch."
A lot of people were doing. There's a scene where Joe is wearing an airbrushed Joe Exotic. It's a white hoodie, and it's just airbrushed Joe Exotic in like lime green. And I was like, holy shit! And then of course I look online, it's already there.
It's already.
Like
I wa-
Jesus.
I want an airbrush Joe Exotic shirt, like neon, like tiger stripes on it.
Yeah.
I feel like if the
it's a-
summer
it's a
if the
banger.
summer happens, like you're gonna see a lot of Joe Exotic.
Oh my
You're
God,
gonna see a
Joe-
lot
Oh
of
my god.
Do you know how much? Do you know how many? If we get to have a summer, do you know how many Joe Exotic tank tops we're gonna be?
there's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
see?
a lot of leopard.
I got 3 in my closet right now.
Like Joe Exotic
eBay.
Joe Exotic tank tops, T-shirts. That's gonna be the craze.
I'm actually gonna get on board with the trend. I'm definitely gonna get some Joe Exotic stuff.
There's just so many like on Instagram, like the ads now.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many just like bangers, like Joe Exotic T-shirts. Like
Oh my God! Yeah, it's
I want
ridiculous.
all of
And
them. They're amazing.
One of the ironic thing, he just wanted to be famous, and now that it's actually happened, he's in prison.
He's in fucking jail.
I know. This is that's look at the irony in that. His
That
whole
is
life,
ironic.
his whole
Just
career,
wanted to be
he just wanted
famous.
to be famous, and now like he's probably one of the more famous people in the United States right now.
At this moment, and
At
he's
this
in
moment,
and he's in prison.
He's in jail, and he can't.
That
even
might be the
experience
biggest takeaway of this whole thing. Is
Yeah.
how ironic. That's another thing. Check another thing off. It's beautifully ironic.
it. Don Lewis is the name of the husband. They just showed it.
Ah,
That died.
Don Lewis.
R.I.P. to
Rest in
Don.
peace. Hopefully he gets brought to justice, or his killer gets
Yeah.
brought to justice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've done an hour
was
and
great.
17.
We dissected
That was
that.
great.
We
bitch.
dissected it. We did it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. We certainly enjoyed discussing this fucking ridiculous show.
Please make the Hollywood version, please. That
Yes,
would be
Please make the
funny.
Hollywood version. We're saying this directly to those comedians, the McBrides, the Farrells of the world.
Someone
Please,
do it.
someone do this. I don't give a shit who. Even if it's fucking Adam Sandler and he wants to bring in all his boys and do it, I don't care.
Someone do it.
Someone do it. It's gotta be. It's gonna be hilarious. There's so much comedy in this. Do it for
Oh my
us,
God.
for all of us.
We need this. That needs to be what we come back to. Come
life
back
with.
from this.
Yeah.
Exactly. The first movie I want to see
They,
in the
they
theater
need to
is
be
that.
writing that. They need to be writing that script right now.
on now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw
All
it on
right.
location if you can.
Yeah. See you
What
later. See you later.
Till
Until
next
our next
time.
appreciation episode. Check you guys later.
Later.
Later.